There we go. In this video we are going to cover how to clean skate bearings the quick and easy way. It's not a hard thing to do. Everybody should do this. If you don't, you'll have to buy more bearings than you need to, and it doesn't really take that long to clean them. So this is how I go about doing it. First thing to do is to get a cleaning solution that is going to break down petroleum distillates, so be it grease or oil or whatever your bearings are lubricated with. I like to use lacquer thinner. That's a container of it right here. The stuff is fairly volatile. I use it to thin paint and other sort of finishing products, and it breaks down oil very, very quickly, so that's why I like using it. Gives off a lot of fumes. It is poisonous, flammable, that sort of stuff. Don't use it in an enclosed area, and yeah, be careful with it. Don't soak your hands in it or anything. So anyway, I've got my wheels here. The bearings are in them. First thing to do is take the bearings out of the wheels. I'm going to use this bearing puller here. Just go ahead and get this one bearing off and get the other one off. So sometimes what happens is bearings will get stuck in these hubs. These ones are a little bit tricky to get out sometimes. So what I end up doing is just take one of the normal bearing pullers that you have, or I have this special screwdriver that has some just a little bit ground out of the front of it. I use this for assembling skates sometimes anyway. It's perfect size for going into the center bore of the bearing. I just give it a little smack and there are the bearings out. So anyway, once you have all of your bearings removed, here are the ones that I removed earlier. I take my mason jar that I have, and I've put some cleaning solution into, and I basically just drop all my bearings into this. So some of these bearings still spin freely, right? This one spins no problem. This one spins no problem. But a couple of these, like this one here, there's a fair bit of drag in it, and it's slowing down pretty easy. It's a good indication it's time to clean your bearings. Also, you'll notice you'll be rolling around. Some of them will be making a lot of noise. Also a good indication that your bearings need to get cleaned and re-oiled. So anyway, once I have them all in here, you can already kind of see that the liquid is turning a kind of a murky gray brown, and that is the cleaning solution breaking down the oil and lifting all the bad stuff out of the bearings. Very complicated procedure. Give it a shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. You can see how dark my cleaning solution is getting now. Just grab a rag. The seal on my mason jar is leaking. Alright, so I aggravated the solution a fair bit. Agitated, I guess, not aggravated. Anyway, so now when I pull my bearings out, they are spinning extremely freely. So all I'm going to do, and this is not a tricky part at all, this is one of the easiest parts. So I'm going to lay out this old t-shirt, and I am going to try to get the majority of the lacquer thinner off of there, and I'm just going to lay these bearings down onto this t-shirt. With the cage side down. And that is going to allow all of the cleaning solution, in this case which is lacquer thinner. Some of these you can still hear there's a little bit of gunk in them. Giving them a spin is going to break some of that gunk free. And if I want, I can just chuck them back in there and give them a little spin. most of these sound pretty good, so I'll just lay them all down. On this rag. You can use a towel, paper towel, doesn't matter what you use really. Most of these sound pretty good. I think Cube, the brand Cube that makes bearings, I think they make a cleaning jar that has this little tree looking thing that you actually slide your bearings onto so they don't end up in a big pile at the bottom, which I think is a pretty good idea, but I just honestly can't be bothered to purchase such a thing. So another word, you should probably be doing this with gloves because lacquer thinner is not really good for your skin. Do not use alcohol. Rubbing alcohol does not dissolve petroleum distillates. So you need to use something like a lacquer thinner, a paint thinner. What else would work? I'm just going to say stick with lacquer thinner and paint thinner. Anything that really says that it'll dissolve oil will work. But yeah, acetone maybe, but acetone's even more volatile than this stuff, I think. I don't like acetone at all. This one sounds a little... good enough. Yeah, these are all sounding pretty good. And that's got all of them. So you can see how filthy my cleaning solution is now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, good. And I got all of them out of there, but you can see how dirty this is. This is dirt and other bits of stuff that your bearings just end up getting in them from picking up from floors, practice spaces, that sort of thing. Not a super big deal, like I said, as long as you clean them on a somewhat regular basis, you'll be able to get lots of life out of your bearings. These ones that I'm cleaning right now, these are just a commercial grade bearing that have the right dimensions to work in skates. I purchased these 2 years ago for $2 a piece, and I just clean them, you know, every 4 or 5 months, or when they start to get a little bit noisy, and they continue to roll perfectly well for me. So yeah, you can save some money by cleaning your own bearings. So once these are dry, and I usually give it about a half an hour, 45 minutes. The nice thing about using a volatile solution like the lacquer thinner or the paint thinner is that it evaporates relatively rapidly. That's why you shouldn't use it in an enclosed space, because the fumes from evaporation will affect your cognitive ability and give you a headache, stuff like that. So anyway, after they've been sitting for about a half an hour, I'm not going to wait a half an hour before I show you how to do this. Basically, you just need to lubricate them. So I use Top Secret lube that I can find at any hardware store. Motor oil. This is some Sonic brand, which is the old Co-op brand, I believe. This is 0W30, 100% synthetic motor oil. I have this, and so I'm using it. It doesn't really matter what you use to lubricate your bearings. They simply don't get put under rigorous enough conditions to require any sort of special crazy lube at all. You could use olive oil if you wanted to. There are lots of things that you can buy that people say are going to work better than something else, but I just use motor oil because I have it. So I'm going to put a little bit in a cap here, just a tiny little bit. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to show you how much oil I use to lubricate these bearings. And some of you might be surprised by how much I actually use. So I take this is a small screwdriver. You can use a pick or a toothpick or anything like that. And I get a little bit, just dip it in there. And I don't know if you can see. You can see probably just a barest little bit just hanging on the bottom there. And then I take that and I put it inside, touch it onto one of the cages. And then I'll get one more little drip. So again, just a very, very, very small amount of oil on there. I'll get it in on the other side of the cage where it'll get onto the actual ball bearings. Then I give it a spin to get it all in there. And that is pretty much all she wrote as far as cleaning and lubricating your bearings. You just need enough oil on them so that they stop making noise. So if you put a small little drop on and they're still kind of, you know, they're still making a little bit of noise, put another little drop on there. They should quiet out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Cleaning and lubricating bearings. Thanks a lot.